The Gotta Catch Them All trophy in Rustler is one of the most frustrating trophies that I have tried to unlock in quite some time, and it's another low point for collectibles in general. In my book, they are already one of the worst time-wasting trophies out there, but in Rustler, they've managed to reach down into the bottom of the barrel and have picked one that is even worse than those hard-to-reach posters in Mafia 2, the missable collectibles in Bioshock, the glitched datapads in Alien's Dark Descent, and even the tedious RNG fest that was getting all of the capsule toys in Shenmue 3.
That one bullshit PlayStation trophy.
So, this mission, Naylad, which requires you to find 8 super rare legendary horses and deliver them to this Ash Ketchum wannabe, even manages to start off on the wrong foot, or should that be Huff, by how it's simply set up, as this is a hidden mission that doesn't actually appear on the map, so it's one that you may or may not stumble across as you play through the game. And while you can start it at any time if you were to do this before beating the story, then the mission becomes even more awkward to complete. Why? Oh, well, it's not like how the Mafia get really aggressive with you in GTA 3 after a certain point in the story or anything. Oh no. It's actually because of a poor decision on the developer's part to make the end game permanently set at night.
No! God, please, no! No! No!
Which, trust me, is a bad thing, because having to do this trophy in the darkness with nothing but a dim torch makes it even more of a pain in the butt, especially when, even in the daylight, the horses themselves are still rather hard to make out due to the game's isometric viewpoint and the fact that most of the horses have a load of crap on them, so you can barely get a glimpse of their actual skin colour or pattern. Trying to find these horses at night just made the whole experience 100 times worse, and if you're like me, you'll be constantly stopping to get off your horse and take a look at a suspect horse that you think might be the one you need. Then, even when getting off the sofa and putting your face right up to the TV, you still won't be 100% sure it's the right one. So, out of fear of missing out, you would just get on that horse anyway and waste several minutes riding it back to the stables, only to find that it's not the specific charger horse that the guy was after. Ugh. So it's definitely wise to go for this one right away, so you can hunt for them in the daytime in between missions, as it will make this tedious and painful process of finding them slightly less rage-inducing. Plus, if anything, it'll be easier on your eyesight, and hopefully you won't have to get off the sofa as much to stare right at the TV. Another problem I have with these missions is that when you approach Ash Ketchum, he only gives you a very brief text description, which doesn't always give you the right idea of what to be looking for. I mean, here I am going for a blue horse speed, having earlier collected a red horse speed, so you'd expect it to look something like this, wouldn't you? But nope, this is the blue one, which really isn't even blue. The striped warhorse was one that took me forever to find, thanks to this lookalike horse here that has this cloth and black stripes on it to trick you into thinking that it's the one you need, and of course you'll always see that when you're riding around. These rather basic descriptions only add further to the frustration and the length of this mission and leave it just feeling half-baked. I feel this would have worked much better if you were given a picture of them, even if it wasn't a screenshot from the game of the horse model and instead a drawing of it styled to the game's setting that you could just pull out as an inventory item so you've something to refer back to when searching. It would have been better. Anything would have been better than just a brief line of text which never changes no matter how many times you go to him with the wrong horse. It's crazy that you'll never get a new message or even a clue to its location, as bafflingly there are no set spawn locations for these horses. I even tried going back to areas I found ones in previously, yet no new legendary horse would spawn there, and in the end I found them in all corners of the map. This means that you are at the mercy of the game's RNG and the spawn rate of that particular horse, which appear to be set so low that you can spend anywhere between a few minutes or a few hours riding around the map waiting for the legendary horse you want to finally spawn in. This whole trophy just felt like busy work to extend the game's runtime, with you having to do nothing more than play the RNG game, spawning in a set amount of horses by riding around the environment until you did enough to get the one horse you wanted to spawn in. Worse still, I would often find that when I did see a legendary horse, it would always be for the one I just collected. In particular, this spotted horse, which I probably saw a good 7-8 times while riding around, despite the first one of those taking me hours to see. It's a further kick to the nuts to suddenly see that damn rare horse spawn 4 or 5 more times after it took you so long to find it once. Honestly, it was just so tiring, so dull and annoying that this whole mission really soured my enjoyment of getting the platinum trophy in Rustler. Annoyingly, the problems didn't end there either, as another issue is that the 8 horses all have to be found in a specific order, so you can't be out searching for all of them all at once. So if you get one that doesn't seem to ever want to spawn, then you'll be stuck on that one until you find it. I'm looking at you, striped warhorse. Damn, why did you take me so long to find? Also, I feel like a lot of them have a horse that looks very similar. The striped warhorse, the one that looks like the taxi, being prime examples of this. The horses that didn't really stand out were the most annoying to find, as it meant I had to be extra vigilant when riding around the environment, as I didn't want to go too fast and miss the horse, so there was a lot of doubt and fear when riding if I'd see a horse spawn in at the corner of the screen as I was riding by, which would then force me to do a U-turn to try and catch up to it and get a more clearer look at the horse. And of course, 9 times out of 10, it wasn't the one I needed, but then you have the feeling of, what if I ignored that one and carried on riding down the road? Would it have spawned then? It's just, so frustrating. Eventually though, you will find the one you need, and then it's just a case of grabbing it and taking it back to the ranch without you or it dying or you getting arrested. Then you start the whole cycle all over again as you go out and search aimlessly for the next legendary horse. Like I said earlier too, you could get really lucky on the next one and find it within a minute right away, or like my 4th horse, you just hit a brick wall and are then forced to ride around for 3 or 4 hours before you finally spot it. With the mission being like this, it is really unfair to the player to keep spawning in previously collected horses, as it just wastes your time when looking for another legendary horse to spawn in. The mission would have been much more fun if you just hunted them down, maybe following clues to their locations in the environment, or following a trail. Even with icons on the map telling me exactly where to go, you still as a player could have had some enjoyment with this mission, but instead, the way they half-arsed it with no set location for any of the horses just breaks this mission in my opinion, and turns it into a terrible part of the game. Anyways, the final horse is a rainbow charger, which you would think would be an easy one to spot, what with it being the colours of the rainbow. Perhaps it could look like this, right? Well, nope. This is what the rainbow charger looks like. And honestly, with that right there, I don't feel like I need to say much more, as that shows how BS this part of the game and this trophy can be. So, for everything I've mentioned in this episode, the Gotta Catch Them All trophy in Rustler definitely deserves a BS rating of